8th day of E-Khel Pathshala, foundation level course, online training program for physical education teachers and community coaches. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving ahead and we are trying to deliver a best content from the best experts across the country on the particular topics. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to have another topic, that is creativity in physical education and sports. And we have a very eminent speaker, a very experienced speaker, and our senior colleague in Sai LNCP Trivandrum, Dr. Lamlam Buril sir. So he is an associate professor having a lot of experience in the field of physical education and sports coaching. So before we start the session, let me take this opportunity and extend my warm welcome to sir on behalf of Ministry of Education, on behalf of Ministry of Youth, Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Sports Authority of India, Khelo India, and on behalf of the entire organizing team from Sai LNCP Trivandrum and Khelo India Division, Delhi. And on behalf of our principal, Dr. G. Kishore sir, and on my personal behalf, I, Dr. Naren Gangwar, would like to take this opportunity to welcome today's speaker for the session. Sir, we are really happy to see you on board, and we welcome you on behalf of everybody present here. Dear participant, let me brief a little bit about sir's credential and qualification. Sir is an alumni of the great institution in the field of physical education and sports, LNIP Gwalior. He has done BP and MP in the year 1993 and 1995. Sir has joined Trivandrum from 1996 and now is associate professor. Sir has a lot of other experiences working as an administrative officer and in various capacities. So sir was posted as an officer on special duty at Sai NERC Imphal from January 2009 to April 2012, whereby the duty and responsibility is related to the administration of Sai schemes in the 3 states of Manipur, Mizoram, and Nagaland. Sir also held the post of Dean in charge and Head of Department Physical Education and Sports Psychology at National Sports University, Imphal, Manipur, from October 2020 to April 2021. Sir has also received a Best Teacher Award in the year 2020 by Institute of Scholars, the Certified International Accurate certification accredited by UASI. And ladies and gentlemen, one more feather on his shoulder is he is the president of PEFI Manipur chapter. So without further much time, and as I'm working with in sir's guideship and leadership, so I know how creative he is in the field of physical education and sports, and he's leading academic section of Sai LNCP Trivandrum as well. Sir, we are really happy and privileged to have you today's in session. So before you start, I would extend again my heartiest welcome to all the participants to join the session. Sir, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Gangwar, for the exaggerated introduction. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today's topic, as mentioned, would be creativity in physical education and sport. I'll just take time to share it. Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. A little bit breaking in the voice. Sir. Hello.
That I find there's a lot of this instability in the network.
Yes, sir. Sir, it's not clearly audible. So, Mr. Satyajit and Surup, are you there?
Yeah, we're just setting. Please bear with us. Participant, just bear with us. We're just.
Yeah. So, participants, I'm sure that I'm audible to you all, right? So, once again, good morning. And see, there will be a session on Friday. Somebody has asked in the chat box. Participants, you will be intimated if any session is not there, and we'll have session from Monday to Friday scheduled. And then if any holiday or any emergency, like if we have to postpone some session, we'll inform you well in advance. And was one humble request to you all, if you have any question, any query regarding the session, please उसको क्वेश्चन आंसर सेक्शन में लिख दीजिएगा. चैट बॉक्स में लिखने से बहुत सारा कम्युनिकेशन होता है, तो उसमें हम आपके क्वेश्चन मिस हो जाते हैं, और पार्टिसिपेंट्स बहुत बार अच्छे अच्छे क्वेश्चंस भी रेज करते हैं, बट हम लोग नहीं ले पाते हैं क्वेश्चन आंसर सेक्शन में. तो आप क्या करिए, उसको क्वेश्चन आंसर जो सेक्शन है उसमें लिखिएगा प्लीज. चैट बॉक्स में मत लिखिए आपके क्वेश्चंस, आप क्वेश्चन आंसर सेक्शन में लिख दीजिए, so that we can easily find the best questions and we can take up to the speaker.
Okay. Gaurav, once again, am I clear?
Yes, sir. Your slides are clear and your voice is also audible. Please.
Okay. So I think due to network issue, most of the time, I'll switch off the video, and then I think I can just give a lecture like this. Is it fine?
Yes, sir. All set to go, please.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to creativity in physical education and sports. I put two because from the previous slide, previous presentation in the past, I have slightly modified it so that by adding few things, I changed some of the content so that if the all participation also comes, then there'll be something for them also to take it home. That is why I put this creativity in physical education and sports too. It is going to be, the main content will be the same, but slight addition and subtraction will be there in the content. So once again, welcome. We'd like to start with the session now. Yeah. Well, I'm starting. Let me, whatever is there in creativity in physical education and sports one, which is done in the past years, just as a reminder and summation, we'll just look into it. Approximately, it is going to be the same, approximately 30 minutes, we'll look into it and then come to the new edition. So the first one we have to look is meaning, needs of creativity in physical education and sports. As you can see it in the screen, here specifically I have taken 2 points. One is we have to understand what is creativity in physical education and sports. And the second one is why is creativity essential and needed in physical education and sports, especially in our schools and in our setup. I hope most of the participants who have attended these programs are physical education teachers, and hopefully there'll be something you'll be able to take it home. And I'm seriously hoping that my presentation will be useful to you. So coming to the first question, what is creativity in physical education and sports? During your course, I know you must have come across a lot of words like improvise, modify, discovery. All these things are, you will note it is all like a substitution words for creativity. And when you can apply these common three words into your profession, we're just going to call it creativity in physical education. When we talk about improvise in physical education, improvise means if the equipment is not sufficient, just example I'm giving, if the equipment is not sufficient or you don't have the uh, you know, the desired facilities or equipment, some other option you're looking around from the environment and you tend to develop that one. For example, you don't have sufficient ball during going back to my childhood, during our childhood, getting a ball for practicing is very difficult. So what we used to do is we just used to put a piece of clothes or even papers tied together, and then there also we can have sufficient fun. That is what I mean by improvise. When the actual requirement is not available, you started using your creativity and then started whatever is available, you just manage your activity with that one. And second one is when I come to modify, mostly when we talk about modification in physical education, we talks about this. Uh, One good example will be to modify the rules so that the participants and the situation will be suitable for it. Now, for example, sometime your school may be all concrete, right? And then having a football tournament will be going to be very difficult. So instead of that, how can you modify it? You can modify the number of participants so that there will be less contact and then the chance of injury can be reduced. Like this, according to the situation where you can modify the rules and regulation, but the main objective of having fun and enjoyment with sports is not lost, that we call it modifying. And discovery, sometime when you can fully put something new into it, that we call it discovery. So if you can improvise or if you can modify it or if you can discover some activities into physical education setup, we call that one creativity in physical education and sports. Why? The second question is, why is creativity essential and needed in physical education and sports? Here also a small note I have written. Seriously, if you just look in your setup, like I said in the beginning, most of you must be a physical education teachers. If you just look around your working environment, what is not lacking will be the question, right? What is not lacking in your department? Obviously, every every now and then, sometimes some of our old students used to visit. Often I used to ask them, how is your work? Their first complaint is, sir, we don't have equipment, sir, we don't have the funding, sir, we don't have the facilities. It's very difficult to work. This is always the complaint from everyone. If that is the complaint from my student, then obviously it will be the same complaint from those participants who are already working as physical education teachers. So even if you keep on complaining, things are not going to change. Let us remember that the funding from the managing boards or the equipment you have or the facilities that is available or even the infrastructure, that is not going to change by complaining. Your programs will not be affected. That is why creativity essential and needed in physical education and sports. Particular point we may be touching in the coming topic also. And Next point I would like to touch is setting your professional philosophy. I want to your attitude when you first when you're learning during your academic education period or after you started professional phys. Some of us, and then let me also point it out, this does not necessarily mean that you will be number one or you'll be number two or you will be number three. Maybe you have more inclination towards number one or number two or number three. We are not going to, we are not going to fully categorize it separately into three, but sometime you may be, like I said, you may be more inclined with one of these three. And we're not going to say this is the best or this is the worst. All the three philosophy are good, but after listening to this lecture, you feel that this, instead of concentrating so much on the first one, you have to concentrate on the second or even the third, because all the three philosophies are important. And the first one is, some of us have this tendency to have to consider, we call it winning philosophy. For you, winning is only the only thing, right? Some of us are born that way. We feel that until unless I win, my program is not successful. So some of us have that winning philosophy. I should have a winning team. Until unless I have a winning team, I'll not be satisfied. Some of us will be in that category also. And what is the second one? The second type of physical education teachers we find, we call it participation philosophy. These people, this type of physical education teachers, they, instead of the game or instead of developing the student or instead of developing the student learn some life value, most of the time they used to concentrate more on making sure that their student have fun while participating in physical education. This philosophy is not also not bad, but like there are certain states, this those people, those of you who have this sort of philosophy, physical education have to be fun activities. Uh, I can assure you, up to class 2 or 3, this is not a bad philosophy. But once you started dealing with the this high school and senior secondary, you have to slightly change your philosophies. So second philosophy type is participation philosophy, people who concentrate more on having fun during physical activities. And then the third one we call it developmental philosophy. This developmental philosophy means there are some of us who are, I should say, a serious type physical education teachers. Because making use of physical education, there are some group who really try to help, really try to teach life value to the student. So their concentration is not just not just developing a winning team, or it is not just developing, uh, making the participants have fun. This type of physical education teaches stress that physically also they have to be fit, mentally or psychological also they have to be stable, and they concentrate a lot on this developing social skill. So these are the three types of philosophy you can categorize it for a physical education teachers. I don't know whether you come in the first winning philosophy or participation philosophy or developmental philosophy. There's, well, like I said in the beginning, we're not going to say anything is wrong. All the trees are good, but according to the age level, sometimes adjustment may have to be made. And yeah, the next point is how to be a creative physical education. how can one become a creative physical education teachers? I just listed two things here. The first one is planning and preparing for classes. This is one of the biggest mistakes physical education teachers used to do. Sometimes we said, I am not going to a classroom, I'm just going to the ground. I don't need any planning or any preparation. According to the situation, I'm good enough to adjust. We have, you know, this sort of thinking also, which is not so right. Now, if you want to be a creative physical education, please remember these 2 points. The first one is planning and preparing for class. And the second one is, I call it diary recording. In bracket, you'll find in your screen the plus and minus technique. Coming to the first one, planning and preparing for classes. What is planning? Planning in a simple words, it is deciding in advance what you're going to do. Until unless you are going to plan things, or if you are someone who always depend upon the situation, time will come, you'll be at loss. And yeah, one big disadvantage is if you cannot plan or prepare for class, you're not going to be satisfied with your job. Let me assure you this. So planning is deciding in advance what to do, and preparing is practicing what you're going to do. If you can do these two homeworks, I can assure you as a physical education teachers, you will find your approach changing. And apart from all, your satisfaction in your job is going to increase so much. It will double, triple this much, though I can assure you from my side. So make sure that if you want to be a creative physical education from the coming days, make sure that planning and preparing for class will be very, very important. Even if you're going to do ground or even if you're going to take theory subject, please make sure that you'll be planning in advance and then you'll be practicing also. You'll be practicing how you're going to do. Maybe stand in front of a mirrors, or there'll be so many ways of practicing. You do this one, and I can assure you your day will be much, much better. When you go back, you'll be a very satisfied person if you can add planning and preparing into your plans. And automatically, so many new ideas is, with this effort, so many new ideas is going to be added. And the second one, diary recording. I put the plus and minus technique. What does plus and minus technique here means? Just once, yeah, one small story I'd like to tell. I think everyone must be aware about this Maria Montessori, right? Where all the juniors preschool is started. Most of the preschool, we call it Montessori school. Montessori, Maria Montessori, you can Google it from her story from others also. How did she become the best teacher in the world? And how did she become the best writer in the world? Uh, Her techniques are quite simple, which you and I can do it. She keep on recording. After she started getting a job into a small setup, she keep on recording every time. After every evening, she keep on writing her diary, and then the new things she applied, the new thoughts that comes to her mind, she used to write it out. And then the next day, she goes prepared. She planned and she prepared for class. And what is working, also she keep on writing. What is not working, also she keep on recording. And after years of collecting or making a diary, finally she she published this diary, and then, if I'm not mistaken, it was translated into more than 150 languages, and then it became the best selling also, and then that lifted her up, and then that is why she became very popular. All preschools are called as Montessori school. That is one reason. And this is what I want to get, the plus and minus every day. You also, I know in this world of laptop and phone, it is very difficult to keep on writing or maintaining a diary. If you can do it, I can assure you, the things you have recorded, your creativity is going to be keep, you are going to increase, not only increase, new ideas is going to come out every time. And those new and original ideas, when you started adding into it, you'll be a happy man also. And then plus another big advantage is those things that you have recorded. You may just be uh, you may just have a graduate level in physical education in schools, or you may be master in physical education in schools. I can assure you, if you keep on maintaining diary, you'll learn so many new things. And though you don't have that much qualification, you'll be able to suggest a lot of relevant topic for researchers. And this is the way you can contribute to your profession. Please keep this in mind and take this one very sincerely. Diary recording, though it is not easy, if you can practice it, it is going to be very, very useful. So these are the two ways of how to become a creative physical education. One is planning and preparing for class, and the second one is diary recording, which I call it the plus and minus technique. The plus is everyday new things you record in your diary, that is the plus. And sometimes your ideas which may not work, the next day you can delete it, you can underline it with rating. That is a minus technique, I call it. So please try to adopt this technique. And the next one is, yeah, symptoms of a creative physical education teachers. How symptoms means the indications, the thing that comes out. How can, what are the symptoms or what are the signs and symptoms of being called a creative physical education teachers? I just listed three things here. We'll just look into the three things. The first one is, if you are creative physical education teachers, popularity for the right reasons within the school premises. You know, physical education, one big advantage physical education teachers is they are already popular by profession. And that I'm very sure in your campus, inside your school campus, you're already a popular person, a popular miss or a popular star already. But the question is it for a right reason that you have to look? If it is for a right vision, that is one, one clear sign that you are a very creative physical education teachers. Then how can you do it? How can you be popular for the right reason? You don't want to be popular in this world, right? Everyone want to be popular. Everyone want to keep on improving. And how to be a popular physical education in the school premises? I just listed three things. One is how you carry yourself. When I talk about how you carry yourself, always remember your physical education teachers and people will be watching you. If you look back into yourself, one big problem with physical education profession is so many times most of our teachers, you know, they did not carry themselves. When I said they did not carry themselves, physical education, you are expected to be fit, healthy, and you should be able to, you know, at least have, though weight control is not so easy, at least you have to be within that acceptable range. But so many times, most of our physical education teachers, we find that one very difficult. And that is one reason why we cannot live to the expectation of school children or other colleagues, other teachers, and even the management. So as a physical education teacher, if you're really educated in physical education, please make sure that from now onwards, you know how to become slightly fit, please make sure that you'll be able to carry yourself in the right way. And once you can maintain your body weight and your fitness, I'll tell you, automatically this is the most difficult things in the world, maintaining health and fitness. Once you can maintain health and fitness, you'll be popular, you'll be admired by everyone. This is very important. And the second one to become popular in physical education teacher is your attire, the way you dress. The way you dress in the school, that also is very important. So many of us we have this sort of orthodox belief that as a physical education teachers, I have to present myself with tracksuit, all these things. These are, you know, old school thoughts, I should say, the whole belief. So please make sure that as a physical education teachers, you're expected to be updated. You're expected to know the trend, the fashion of the generation. So try to feel comfortable with tracksuit, fine. If you want to wear tracksuit, that is fine. But at times, try to dress uh, casually also. And another important thing is when some big programs are there, try to dress very formally also. You should be comfortable in these three dress. One is sports dress. The second one is in casual dress also you should feel comfortable. And the next one is in formal dress also you have to be comfortable. Sometimes physical education teachers, whatever is some big program comes and then we have to wear tie and suit. We do wear, but most of the time it feels so uncomfortable that it shows. It should not be like that. So to make it to be able to feel comfortable with this sort of three type of fashion, I'll tell you, you have to sometime you have to wear it also. Of though you cannot wear it oftenly, periodically you try to wear these three types of dress so that you will not feel odd when you are dressed like that. This is very important. To be accepted by your colleague, to be accepted by your student, this is very, very important. And let me, one warning sign is, but I'll not subscribe to a physical education teachers going with a torn jeans or not those things. It can be a clean casual wear also, that is not a problem, but so many times if you try to enact this what the student prefer also, that also is we have to set that limit also. We should not go try to cross that boundary. As a teacher, if you go and wear this torn jeans and other, then I think you'll end up instead of being other praising you, will end up being you know ridiculed by others. So please avoid when you're selecting your dress. And the second one is how to be popular for the right vision in the school premises. The third one is your social skill matters. What do we mean by social skill? You have to be, uh, when I said social skill, physical education teachers, okay, we are in the profession, we feel fine, but we feel comfortable only in the presence of colleagues. That is not right. If you are a physical education teacher, please make sure, please make sure that you feel with, you have to go and keep on interacting with other teachers also. Let it be a science teacher, let it be English teacher, let it be maths teacher. Do interact with them. Don't try to stay separately. This is very, very important. And then you have to be uh, with your social skill, your communication with others. They have to be always friendly, and then that is what I mean by social skill. Please, so many times it so happened, those who are in physical education, we have this tendency, we're not so good in English. who are hesitating to talk to the English teacher. Not like that. Don't take out those mentality or that sort of negative attitude out of your head. No one is going to, your English teacher is not going to check your English. You just go and communicate, and then that is what they want. They, if you are colleagues, then you have to be friendly. This is very important. And the next one is what is the symptom of creative physical education teacher is. Second one is you'll find a big queue during PTA meeting, parents teacher association meetings. It is very common in schools. Those during that parents teachers and meeting, if you are a good teacher, this is where a good teachers and not so good teachers is categorized. During this time, if you find in the physical education department, if you find a lot of parents are waiting, that means to some extent you are not doing bad. But during PTA meeting, if you did not find any parents willing to come and drop you in your department, then it will be high time you have to look back. Because parents are so concerned about their kids, their children. If their children admire you, obviously parents are going to admire you, and then they'll be so happy to meet you. So this is the second indication whether you are creative physical education teachers. You will all, the best judge is a big queue during PTA meeting. And the next one is Indian reality. No fun, no sports, no fans, no sports. You know what I mean by this one? If you're a good physical education teacher, good physical education teachers and creative physical education teachers is almost synonymous, almost the same. Please remember this one. If you are a creative physical education, you are going to have, you may not be a celebrity, but you will be a celebrity inside the campus. A lot of people will be your fans, I'll tell you. And your fan base, if it is good, then your presence in the campus is going to be very, very good. And for that, what is the best one? Your relationship with the higher authorities, with the managing board, the principal, the headmistress, the supervisor is very important. This you have to be good. And the second one is, the most important one is, one good way of having a good fan base is, if with sincerity and with commitment, if you can teach your student, and if once the student realizes that our sir or madam really care for us, student communicate a lot, and then that the relationship between your students and teachers, other teachers also will be seeing it first. And if this student really admire you, the first thing they will go home and then they'll start praising you in front of their parents. I have a physical education teacher who is so good. He or she is very nice. And if a child likes you or admire you, automatically the whole family is going to admire and like. Remember this one. This is the connection you have to make. And once you have a good fun base inside the campus, outside also it goes on, and then you'll have a very important place in the school. Do remember these three things. This is a good sign and symptom of creative physical education teachers. And yeah, the next one is, so many times I find, yeah, I'll always quote some examples. So many times I find some of my old student coming and meeting me after a long time. And then most of the time their complaint is, sir, no one, no one is willing to listen. The managing board is not going to listen. Every time I requested for purchasing of equipments. They said there's no money. No one is willing to listen. It's very difficult to work in school, right? This I heard a lot about this thing, but here I want to briefly discuss what you should do and what you should not do. I put work visibility. If the management or if the owner of the school or the headmistress or if other can see that you are seriously working, I can assure you no one is going to refuse you. Most of the time, it becomes a mistakes. When you say that people are not willing to listen, actually, most of the time, reality in life is also like that. We fail to look into ourselves. People are not, until unless people see you, there's no reason that they are going to listen to you. So in school also, if you if your work is visible, when people can see that you are seriously working. Here I did not mean that if your team can win the championship, that is one good way of showing your visibility. But every one cannot have a winning team, right? So in that case, that you're sincere, your your work, you're working with sincerity, let the people that you're surrounding should be able to see it. And then once you have this one, then even when you started going and sharing your ideas or when you request something, obviously you'll find a lot of people, the school management especially listening to you. Now here, two things we're going to look. One is don'ts, what you should not do. And another one is do's, what you should do. Coming to the first, what you should not do in the school setup is, I used to call it profession narcissist. Narcissist, I don't know, you will be knowing the story of Narcissus is uh, one Greek young man who feel that he is so handsome, so beautiful, right? He's a young man. You find that he's the most beautiful and the most handsome person. And most of the day he will go spending under one trees and then looking into the pond and then admiring himself. This is the story of Narcissus. When I call about proficient Narcissus, I said it is this a sign of no confidence. If you are one person who have this profession narcissist who always said, I am from physical education profession, physical education is the best, it is the best profession in the world among all subjects, all physical education people are good people. If you have this mentality that I'll tell you, you'll not, it will be very difficult for you to find friends. And because that is wrong also, you should have this attitude that, okay, physical education is a very good profession. So is engineering, so is English, so is social science, so is arts, so is music. You should try to develop this, thinking big thoughts. You should, then only you'll be able to have a lot of friends. And the second one is, yeah, this inferiority complex. It's almost the opposite, I should say. Some of us always have this tendency to complain. We always make sob story, pitiful stories. That is not going, this also is not going to win to friends. And this, the management also is not going to listen. Remember this one. Don't, don't think that you are less a human than others. Never develop this attitude. We are born in this world, we cannot change our roots. We cannot change our roots. We cannot change our education. We have to accept ourselves as we are. Then there's no point of expecting that this person is better than me. There's no need of comparing with others. You just have to accept that you are born special and there's nothing to feel inferior to others. And what are the do's? What you have to do for people, for the management to notice you? The first one is stay updated. If you are in physical education, and sports profession, be aware about what is going in the world. What are the new changes? What are the new research? And once you update yourself, how to update yourself? Obviously, sometimes you have to read books. Am I right? Sometimes you have to read books, and not only books, through your mobile or laptop, you'll started going through literature in your fields. And then obviously that will give you a new strength every day. And then once you can come with a new strength every day by updating yourself, you're bound to be noticed by others. You cannot go and you need not go and tell people that you are very good, you have read this book. People will look at you and then they'll see it. You don't have to go and campaign to yourself that you are doing this one, this one. Once you stay updated, automatically you'll be noticed, you'll be respected. And trust your instinct. If you're aware, if you're updated, and if you're really keen in your profession, you have to trust your instinct. The decision that comes to your head, as long as it is for the betterment of others, you should trust, you should believe in your decision. And the last but not the least of what you have to do is you have to love your job. Once you love your job, then you know your enemies will reduce. The opposition, people who try to oppose you will change their attitude and then they'll like you. Remember this one, love your job. Until love, because if you love your job, people will be able to see that you are a satisfied man, you are a happy person. And when people find that you are happy and you are leading a satisfying life, people will want to be friends with you. Remember this one. So love your job. Until unless you love your job, then trying to seriously work is going to be very, very difficult. And next is how to solve the problems. I use the word idea, IDEA. If you, one reality physical education teachers and others have to accept is in life is that a lot of problems is going to come. And when problem comes, how we are going to solve it is just remember this abbreviation IDEA. Idea means new thinking. And if you remember this one, almost all problem you are going to face in your profession or in your life also, there will be better chance of solving it. Very briefly, I'll go into it. One is identify the problems. I said, learn the root cause. So many times we find why this problem is always coming to me. We never try to learn what is the problems, what is the reason for this problem coming up. We never try to look into the cause. Until unless you find the cause of the problems, you'll never be able to solve it. Remember this one. So the first one, I stand for identifying the problem. Try to know the problems first. What are the causes of that problem? You have to know if you really want to solve the problems. Identify the problems. And second one is D stand for develop a list of a solution. Not, don't just say that I'll solve this one like this. Don't just pick one solution. At least 3-4 solutions you keep in your mind. Okay, list it down. 3 or 4 solution at least. Even the more you can, the more solution you have, that will always be the better. And this solution, like I said, it is all interconnected. Until unless you know the problems, listing out solution is not going to be possible. So first know the problem, identify the problems, and once you identify, if you really feel that you know the problem, list out the solution. Let's say 3 to 5 solutions, you list it down. I'll do like this, I'll do like this. At least 5 points you list it down. once you have the list with you, E stand for the next what the next abbreviation E stand for evaluate your solution. The 5 things or 5 or 10 things you have listed down, the 5 or 10 solutions you have listed down, you just look back into it, evaluate it, analyze it, check it, and then read it again, which one will be the best. I'm very sure you'll, out of 10 or out of 5, selecting the best one, the best 3 will be very, very easy. So you just look back into your solution, list of solution and pick up, this is good, this is good. List out, hand pick those things, and A stand for analyze how well your plan work. Try it out. Those selected solution, the one you have handpicked, you try it out, and most of the time, if you are willing to spend this much effort, if you are willing to follow this step, IDEA, if you are willing to follow this step, I can assure you, almost all situation, all problems in your life or in your profession, you'll be able to solve it. And sometime you're unable to solve it. So what is the option? You just start from the beginning again. Your approach will be different and your solution will be different. And then your, your practical solution, the one you're willing to try also will be different. So don't have an, don't mind going back one more time if you cannot solve it by the first round. IDEA. If you cannot solve it by the first round, go for the second round. I am very sure that by the second round, all your problem will be solved. And there's a saying, even if you cannot solve it by the second round, even go for the third round also. But going third round will be difficult, but I assure you, if you go second round, your problem will be solved. This is how to solve problems you are going to encounter in your profession. And yeah, uh, another point I want to seriously discuss is, I'll try to move slightly faster so that if there are some queries, also some question you want to ask, we'll have sufficient time to look into it. So let us look this one. What you have to know about creativity. Whenever we talk about creativity, there are 4 things I have listed. Remember these 4 things. Let me make it very clear. These 4 things I did not read it from books. I just focus on this topic, and then I feel these 4 things should be good enough. So I listed out these 4 things you have to know about creativity. If it is applicable to you, it is good. But like I said, this is one sort of a creative practice. I just listed out these 4 things, which I feel is really relevant. And if you can to me, these are the 4 things you have to know about creativity. One is, the first one is creativity is an arts. When we talk about arts, what is arts? Arts, whenever we call arts, is, when we talk about arts in general language, we call it arts as a painting, music, even sometimes particular skill and others. All these are arts. Now, what is so common in music, painting, drawing, all these things? If you are going to limit the definition, if we are going to call painting, music, drawing as an arts, in general language we said these are arts. What is the common thing in this? How do those people who are very good, what did the artists do? Why did we call them the artists? One common thing we find is they like it so much. They are willing to learn. They are willing to go into depth. That is why they become artists. They have become well known. The same thing is going to be true in physical education also. if you really want to be creative, or if you really want to add something new into your program, you really have to be willing to spend your time. You should be willing to, dedicate more time into it. You really have to love it. You really have to show interest into it. Until unless you are willing to fulfill this small criteria, then creativity as an art is not going to be possible. And what is the second one? Creativity is a skill. When I said skill, to be good in sports, also most of you are a sports person. In sports, when technique, fundamental skill, who are doing good, if you look, those people who have a good fundamental skill or basic skill, basic technique, those who are very good in basic skill or techniques are people who practice the maximum. Remember this. And sometimes those people who practice it correctly are the people who are very good in skill. Let it be any sports. This thing you should realize and try to apply this one into your profession. Then it will work. So many times we said that I want to do something good for this one. I want to improve my writing. I want to practice journalism. But instead of just speaking out, you should try it out. Only when you keep on writing, then you may be able to. It may be your true calling, right? So these are very important. Creativity as a skill. Why creativity is a skill? I means you have to practice it correctly, and the more you practice, the more you'll be better. And the third one is creativity is contribution. Here, what I mean by creativity is contribution. You may be you may invent something, or you may discover something. You may be able to modify something, but if it is not not going to be helpful, but if it is going to be harmful, then I should say that you are going the wrong direction. If you are going to be a creative physical education, the new things that the new ideas that comes to be your head should really be able to help others, should really be able to contribute to the profession. That is what I mean by creativity is a contribution. Until unless you're able to contribute, then there's no much point of being creative. You should, in your small way, you should try to make your profession and the world better, right? At least what you can control, you should try to make it better. And if you can add some new ideas into it, then I'll tell that you are, like, we can even put a stamp on you that you are very creative physical education teachers, but subjected to your contribution for the betterment of others. And the last one, creativity is inventiveness. Sometimes it may be very small, but it has to be something new and easier, making things more easier and practical. That is useful. Why people goes for the latest font? The reason is it has better features, right? There are more features and they can do a lot of work. And in their fingertip, they can do a lot of things. That is the reason. Previously, when one example, when mobile phone is discovered, it is used only for calling. Then the next time, a phone you can text messages we can do. So everyone goes for that. The second model of where you can this do this texting also. And the third one, slowly more apps comes and then more features comes. And the better the features, since it has become more easy also, then people goes for that. The same thing, creativity is inventiveness. You should be able to add new things. It may not be a big discovery. It have to be some new thing to make the present easier and more practical. This is what I call about what creativity. And what I want you to know about what is creativity, you just, whatever you think about this lecture, please really concentrate on this four. This is one big message I want to pass it on. If you want to be a creative physical education teachers, then always remember creativity is an arts. Until and unless you like it, improvement is not going to be possible. The second one is creativity is a skill. Until unless you are willing to practice it, you'll not be better. But the more you practice, the better you'll become. And the third one, creativity is a contribution. Until unless your ideas is going to be contribute to make things better, then I'll not call that one a creativity. And the last one is creativity is inventiveness, adding things, making things more easier. This is uh, the message I would like to pass it on to you. And since the class is going to be up to 12:30, so this one, the three level states of creativity in physical education. This one, here, what I want to stress about this one, let me just touch it briefly. What I want to touch about this one is when you first join any profession, these are basically the three stages you're going to go through. The first one is, you know, if any new school or new organization you join, you'll find a lot of fault in the setup. That is the first stage. You'll find a lot of faults, you'll find a lot of mistakes. The system is not good. All these mistakes you'll find. But after certain stage, your second stage will come. Then if you are really going to be a professional and if you're really going to be good, you started realizing, oh, all these problems are, most of them are under my outside my control. So what can I do? You'll be able to pick up what will be under your control, and you started working on correcting those fault, because correcting those that you can control and able to clear out what is within your control. Only out of 10 fault you have find in your setup, in your organization, maybe 3 is really within your control. So you'll be able to pick up these 3 things, right? You'll be able to, out of 10, out of 10 things, out of 10 fault you find in the system, maybe finally time will come, you'll realize there are just 3 things that is within your control. And if you can work on correcting these 3 things, then in a way or the other, you started contributing. And once you started contributing, people will realize, and once people will realize that you are an important part of the organizations, and that is what I call convincing stage. People will started listening to. Until less, if you just keep on complaining, no one is going to listen to you. I call it identifying states or blame game states. No one is going to listen to you. And the second stage, trying out states, what is only within your control. If you really work on it, people will started noticing you a bit. And finally, based on your stage 2, you'll be able to influence your organization and people will be accepting you. These are the 2 stages of creativity and contributing to physical education and sports in your institution and in your organization setup. And what is needed? Presently, what is needed is the need of the hours in physical education and sports. There's 3 things I have listed. Education is a change of behavior due to learning. You cannot change someone until and unless he's willing to learn and change. Let us remember this one. What is education? Education is a change of behavior. And also, so many of you will be having a lot of years of experience. And this is also one big realizations I have. I have almost, let us say, now, including this year, maybe 20, almost 25 years of experience. But only, I should say, only in the last 5 years, I started realizing until less I can make my student interested in learning, there's not much I can do. Please accept this one. Which by force you try to make people learn, they're not going to learn. You, like I said, you cannot change someone until unless he's willing to learn to change. And so, how to make these people interested to change? That have to be one area you have to look upon. And one more thing is, pandemic teaches us online is not as good as offline, right? Pandemic teaches us online is not as good as offline. You just meditate upon this one and then you'll find so many reasons. So many times I used to see in the chat box, let us go offline for this type of course. A lot of suggestion is there. So now at this time we have to realize that sometime in life, one-to-one, face-to-face interaction is the best. So we never know what is going to happen tomorrow. So when you have the opportunity to talk to your student in the campus face to face, please make use of this one because you never know 1 month or 2 months down the line, the sort of pandemic will come and then you will not be even meeting your student also for a long time again. So please make sure that at least when you can have time to interact, try to make them learn something. And the last one is, at this time, the is the third one. I'll just briefly explain it. It is time physical education teachers and those of us who are in the profession show to the public that at least we are concerned about our health, right? And if you're concerned about your health, that means I already touched how you carry yourself. That is very important. Let us take a serious decision. Let us decide once again that will be, we are we have chosen this profession and we should try to show the world that we are a fit people. We are someone who care about our health and our fitness, and people should see that example in us. And then once we can go back to this basic and fundamental thing, then only our profession will prosper, and then you'll have a lot of satisfaction in life. And just, just look, to summarize creativity in physical education. A pen, a pencil is very nice. Sometimes it can break, but even if it breaks, you still have the third option. You can use it. Even if you see the first one, there's only one head. If you see the third one, you find one, two, three heads. That is when you can use a situation in your favor, that we call it creativity. Uh, thank you so much. There's look at this one, and this is what I want will be. If you have any doubt, I can assure you, well, I will always available to help you out if it is within my, you know, if it is the area I can help you, I will be always be available to help you. So just to contact me if there's any doubt in this thing. So we have 15 minutes. Thank you so much. And back to you. Gawar, are you still available?
Yeah, sir. Sir, wonderful session. Sir, would you mind to stop sharing your screen?
Okay. Right. Let's how to stop this sharing of screen.
Hello. Yeah, sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much for very informative and creative session. The topic that is creativity in physical education and sports. Thank you so much. I'm sure that all the participants are going to be benefited and they will have a lot of ideas and eye openers to be creative in the coming days. Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful session. Now, I would request all the participants, if you have any question, any doubt regarding the session, you may please write in the question answer section. आप लोगों को कोई भी क्वेश्चन है, कुछ भी सेशन से रिलेटेड जानकारी चाहिए, कुछ आप लोग क्वेश्चन आंसर सेक्शन में लिख सकते हैं, हम लोग अभी डिस्कशन कर सकते हैं. और चैट बॉक्स में मत लिखिएगा क्वेश्चन, समटाइम वी आर नॉट एबल टू टेक अप. सर, with your permission, shall I take few questions?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, sir, the name is not written, but the participants, one of the participant want to ask like how they can motivate. I mean, how he can motivate himself when some stress is there because of classes, or how they can overcome all that.
Can you just repeat? How can we motivate?
How he can motivate himself when a lot of mental stress is there, and how he can overcome out of that.
Okay, as a self-motivation you meant, right? It is not the student. Okay, how can, in other words, if I'm going to put, is it like when I don't have time to concentrate on my, for example,